Well, hi. I'm glad you're here. I'm so excited to share this stuff with you today um, and to talk about like our emotions with dating and how you can be in control of your own emotions. I think so often we think that whatever we're feeling is something that just sort of happens to us, and that's not true. And we're going to learn so much today about emotions and the science behind it, and making those switches. So, most of you have met me before. I'm Lori, and I am the founder of The Worthy One. And The Worthy One is a coaching company that supports women in their love lives. And I have been coaching for almost a decade. My anniversary is coming up soon, actually. And I have worked with thousands of women, just like you, women who have worked through their enoughness, women who have felt like they're never going to meet the one, like they've been dating forever, what is wrong with them. And now they're in happy relationships. Actually, almost 200 of them are married, which is so amazing. A lot of them have children. Some of them already had children and aren't in that phase of life, but a lot of them now have kids too who didn't before. And this is like my biggest joy in life, is supporting you in your dating and relationship journey. It's not just about the dating. It's also about like staying in the relationship and making sure it's a relationship that works for you, and knowing that you're worthy throughout it, so that if there's ever a moment where it's not working for you, you're not settling. And today we're going to talk about joyfully navigating dating using essential oils. And I'm joined by Amanda Brumel, who's actually one of my best friends. Do you want to tell us a little bit about you?
Yes. Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you. Lori and I met earlier this year through a leadership program, and we became fast friends. I sat next to her during one of our sessions, and I told the group that I was looking for a husband. This is a year to get a husband. And she leaned over to me and whispered in my ear, like, I'm a dating coach. So I started working with her immediately. And I have to say that I've really up-leveled my relationship with myself, what I'm looking for, and how to navigate dating in a way that feels good rather than feeling like it's a chore. And I have to say, the guys I've been attracting recently are worlds different than what I was attracting before. And so I've been using essential oils for 4 years. I'm a certified holistic health coach, and I've used them a lot for physical, emotional, and spiritual benefit. And I started using them specifically throughout my dating process because Lori suggested creating a pre-date routine, and oils marry into that routine very beautifully. And so we'll talk a little bit more about what oils to use and how to use them and what circumstances to use them in. So I'm just really happy to be here and collaborating with Lori on this little project for you guys.
Awesome. Cool. So I'm curious if you could type into me and tell me, like, if you were to currently take just feel into what your dating life feels like, or if you're in a relationship, what that like kind of early stage of the relationship or wherever you're at feels like. I wonder, how does dating feel? Just like type in the chat and tell me how it feels, because I'd love to know where you're at currently, so we can make sure that everything we cover today speaks to you. So just type it in. It feels like work. Energy draining. Yeah. It's so, what I hear in that is it feels like heavy, right? Draining is interesting word choice. I think a lot of us it can feel really draining. It can feel heavy. Anyone else want to tell us what you're feeling? I want you to know that this is actually normal. Like, it's what I find, and like I said, I've worked with thousands of women, and I can tell you that it's more common to feel anxious, frustrated, drained. Susan says confusing. It's more common actually to feel that than to feel joy, pleasure, passion, excitement. But that's how we want dating to feel, right? Like, isn't that the ideal of how dating would be amazing to feel? And it can, but it takes a little bit of like shaking things up and doing them a little differently, I find, in order to get you to a place where it feels like that. Amanda, how does it feel to you?
Now I can say I feel joy, I feel passion, I feel excitement, I feel butterflies. I'm dating like 4 people right now.
Wow.
And I feel sort of a little bit like the Bachelorette. But I will say in the past, it felt like a mission. Like, I have to find the one. And now it's like, oh, I can have fun meeting different people and figuring out more and more what I want, what I'm looking for, what my non-negotiables are, and to be treated well. You know, I don't think I was in the past. I was attracting in some emotionally unavailable guys.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have a guy who's going to prepare like a 3-course meal for me tomorrow night. He's been whining, dining me, but is like not just a charmer. He's like a good guy. So it feels really good. I'm actually like, I have a huge smile on my face because I think the first time in a long time I can say that truthfully.
Mm-hmm. That's so awesome. Cool. So that's what we're going to focus on today, is getting you to feel more joy, empowered, connected, whatever it is that you want to feel. So I'm really curious, what do you want to feel? Like, if you could just design your dating life, which you can, what do you want to feel? I think it would be really good for you to have an intention for us to go into this webinar with. So type in and tell me, how do you want dating to feel, like in its most ideal state? Hey, Marco. Tell us what you want. And while you're doing that, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do today. So we're going to look at the science of our emotions. Amanda's going to teach us so much. I'm like blown away by everything that she's prepared today to talk about the science of like how our bodies, like what emotions actually are. And then we're going to talk about tools and habits for a healthy body chemistry, because emotions do live in our bodies. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the oils and like, when do we use them? How do we use them when it comes to dating and relationships? What types of oils would support dating and relationships, and practical wellness steps that you can actually do in your life. We'll talk about how to get oils if you don't have any, and then we're going to do a Q&A at the end. So lots to cover. All right. So Amanda, tell us, dive into all of the like science of emotions.
Yes. So what's amazing is that our bodies want to function as a whole. Our bodies want to heal themselves. That's their natural inclination, is to be healing all the time. You get a cut and it's like magic. It heals usually within a few days or a week or two. And so really our bodies in every moment are trying to heal. And you were created to function, mind, body, spirit, as one. Though the downside of Western medicine, I mean, there's a lot of amazing things about Western medicine, but the downside is it's really only focused on the body. It's not so much focused on how the mind influences and the spirit influences the body. And so emotions can have a huge effect on our physical sensation, our physical experience in the world, and our health. So if we are balancing all of those things, if we're paying attention to how we're nourishing the mind, the body, and the spirit, we can create wellness. And that's really the goal, is the more whole we feel, the better we feel, the more well we feel, the better we're going to show up in our dating life. We're going to feel like we value ourselves more, and the people that we attract are going to value us more also.
Yeah. Awesome.
So your body is made up of intelligent cells, which are wired to restore health. That is the job of your cells, your blood cells, your red blood cells, your white blood cells. They are meant to restore health at every moment. So they're there on your side. And what's really fascinating, and this took me some time to really process, emotions are information carrying molecules. Just like sit with that for a minute. Emotions are information carrying molecules. We sometimes think they're these sort of esoteric, intangible things that are totally out of our control. But if an emotion like anger is an information carrying molecule, that means that we have a little bit more control over it because it is something tangible. I mean, it's microscopic. We can't see it with our eyes, but it exists. And those molecules bind to and they interact with our cell receptors. They can get inside of our cells and they impact cell function and behavior. So what this means is that you have an anger molecule that is carrying information and it's binding to your cells. It's getting into your cells. So that means you could have anger inside of your cells. And so that can, if not released from the body, if not cleansed in some way, can end up accumulating in your cells. And they've done studies to show that the more kind of emotion that is released from your brain, these molecules that are released, your cells will create more receptors to receive those emotions. So for instance, if you are releasing a lot of depression molecules, your cells will create more depression receptors. And when that cell replicates, there are more depression receptors on those cells. So those cells are basically saying, cool, give us more depression. We have all these receptor cells, give us more depression. And so we have to work really hard to start to release thoughts that are more in the joy, pleasure, love category so that our cells can respond in kind.
It's like emotional bed bugs. Like that's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of emotional bed bugs, right? It's like, oh my God, they go, because like you get one and like they're everywhere, right? But this makes so much sense. And this is like, I think when we experience emotions, we experience them if you allow yourself to in a very embodied way. Like you can feel your body. Angry feels very different. Anxious feels very different, right? This is why at Abundant Love Live, my weekend workshop that's coming up next month, we are doing a ton of emotional processing that's physical because we need to like physically process also too. Anyways.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say, they've been doing studies to show the correlation between repressed emotion and cancer. Because again, emotions are getting inside of your cells, and cancer is when cells are not replicating properly. They're not replicating and dying properly. So we will really want to be focused on our emotional health as much as we possibly can. And oftentimes when we work on our emotional health, our physical health improves, even if we're not directly focused on our physical health.
Yeah.
So emotions are processed throughout 3 brains. There's science that reveals there are complex neural processing function between the mind, the heart, and the gut. So what that means, these 3 brains, is the mind, the heart, and the gut are completely connected. So we think of our brain as in our head. This is the logical mind. But what's interesting is that most of the behavior is directed by our subconscious. 90% of it is directed by our subconscious. So we might be doing things that we're not even aware of because it's in our like hard wiring. And so we have the power through thought and through feeling to start to rewire our subconscious mind. And essential oils are an amazing tool to help facilitate that. You can actually rewire your brain. The neuron processing, the way that the neurons process in the brain can be rewired, it's called neuroplasticity, through consistent thought and feeling married together. And you can either make that thought and feeling in a negative way, or you can make that thought and feeling in a more positive way, for lack of a better word. Empowering way, yeah. And so that is really exciting to really absorb, because you, again, have control over the way that your body functions. The heart is your intuition, and there are more neural pathways that run from the heart to the mind than from the mind to the heart. So really your heart is mission control. Your heart is really running the show. And so when you feel something, it's sending messages back to your brain to release certain thoughts or certain messages back to the rest of your body. And then there's the gut. You get that gut feeling. And in the gut, there's 90% of the body's serotonin, and it's involved in mood management. So if you have any sort of dysbiosis in the gut, meaning IBS, any sort of constipation, diarrhea, gas, bloating, any of that, it can mean that the flora in your gut is out of balance. It's in dysbiosis, which can create dis-ease. And if you have any mood management issues, you have stress, you have depression, issues with sleeping, really any imbalances, you want to look at your gut health. And a lot of times when you focus on your gut health, you can rewire the way that your mind is sending emotions throughout your body. So when you're working on emotional health, you want to make sure you're focused on all three brains because they are inextricably linked. They communicate with each other, they feed back to, and therefore influence the mind. That's Caroline Leaf, neuropsychologist. And so the brains instinctively process every single life experience and they work together. So this poor woman is having a rough day. She's gotten like bill collectors calling her.
She looks like me.
You're just missing the dog. So there's Lori. She got a new puppy. Puppy's hungry, needs to go out maybe to get a walk. Ellie's crying. There's a bill collector, somebody on the phone needing something. Who knows? And so this is her life experience. She starts processing. Okay, I have to figure this out. Oh my gosh, I feel overwhelmed. And then her gut's feeling stuck. And then what happens is she has a reaction. She might get head tension. So her head starts to hurt. She starts having conflicted feelings. And then her stomach feels unsettled. She might feel nauseous, anxious. Maybe she has to run to the bathroom, whatever it might be.
Yep.
So there's disconnection. And now a new belief starts to form that I'm not good enough. Because she can't handle all these things that are being thrown at her. And your beliefs show up in your life and they create your reality. So the number one way to recreate the way the world looks around you is recreating your belief system.
Which we talk about so much in the Worthy One, right? Or at the Worthy One. We talk all about, actually in Abundant Love, because I know a few of you are here who've been through that program. That very first week, we talk about creating new beliefs, right? Creating new truths. And this is like, I talk about it also too in the Worthy One all the time, because this is the number one thing, is that if we believe certain things, and we want to create something new, we can't do it with these old beliefs. But like, I love understanding how everything's all linked, because I think often we look at that belief but there's like the whole three brains to look at.
Yeah, so emotions and essential oils react chemically. And what's really cool about this is that beliefs are created when you marry a thought and a feeling, like I said earlier. You could marry a negative thought and a negative feeling, like I'm not good enough and I feel sad or I feel frustrated. And then you start to create this belief of I'm not good enough. But if you have a positive thought like I have everything I need to be successful, or I am whole, or I am love, or whatever it might be. And then you have a positive thought like you feel love, you feel joy, you feel gratitude. Those two things together will start to create a new belief that I am enough, I am whole. And that is something that you can do consistently over time. Now, granted, if you've had, say 30 years of life and you've had a certain belief system, you're not necessarily going to transform that overnight. You have to do something consistently. But the great thing is that the more often you do it, the better you're going to feel. So even if your belief system doesn't change overnight, your overall feeling in your body and in your life is going to be shifted because you're focused on a different mindset. And then essential oils, because they're reacting chemically with the body, they can boost your mood. They can boost the feeling. So it's a way to magnify and enhance your feeling. And if you use the oils with affirmations consistently, you can start to create new belief systems in a very powerful way. So essential oils promote emotional purification. They help to release negative emotions out of the cells. So remember, the emotions are molecules in your cells. Essential oils can penetrate into cells and almost act like a little housekeeper to clean out the cell, to clean out anything in the cell that is not serving you. And they anchor in healthy biochemistry. So essential oils are from the earth, they're from plants, they're carbon-based. Our bodies are carbon-based, so our bodies instinctively, intuitively know how to use the chemical constituents of the oils in a positive way in our bodies. So it's very much like eating food. You eat food, it becomes part of your DNA. Same thing with oils. You use oils, it comes into your bloodstream, into your cells, and becomes part of you in a way. It helps to cleanse out what doesn't serve you and bring in what does.
And when I use essential oils consistently, especially, you know, I have shared with you guys, most of you guys before, that like Thomas and I recently went through a ton in our marriage, and I used oils through that whole process, and it really does feel like cleansing for me. It feels like there's an emotional burst of something, like I use oils and I'm like, I really move through it in a way that I don't otherwise move through it. Like I don't have to go back to that place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, this is like exactly how it feels for me.
Yeah, and you want to think about using oils like drinking water. It's not like you can just drink water once and you never have to do it again. You drink water throughout the day. And so with oils, it's something that you can use as a tool throughout the day. And it's not like you'll use oils once and you'll never be depressed again or you'll never be sad again. Mm-hmm. But you can use it as a tool. And I will say that my mood is more balanced now than it ever has been before. I've struggled with a lot of emotional up and down throughout my life. And I'm more balanced than I've ever been before because I cleansed out a lot of the old, sludgy, emotional stuff out of my body. And so now I'm really just dealing with a lot of the new stuff. And things come up from day to day that you have to navigate, and oils are a way to assist you through that process.
Yeah, and you're right. I am using them all throughout the day. It's not like just in that burst, but it's just I notice it most in that moment, you know, because it's so like the thought and the feeling are so linked in that moment, you know, whereas maybe if I'm like putting some lemon oil in my water, it's like a little more subconscious of an action that's actually like cleansing, even though I don't have to give it any thought, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And you can think of oils sort of prophylactically in that way, like you are using them in a way to take care of yourself, so you don't necessarily have to go through the depth or the, you know, the intensity as much as you would if you didn't have the oils and you weren't using them in advance of a crisis.
Yeah.
So one drop of essential oil has 40 million trillion molecules. That's like 19 zeros. So you don't even have that many cells in your body. So that means that one drop of oil can service every single cell of your body multiple times in a matter of just minutes. And within 20 minutes, it can be in every cell of your body. So essential oils support cell receptors, like we talked about earlier. So if you're having depression cell receptors, you can start to, over time, rewire everything in your body so that you can start to have more positive cell receptors. You can promote healthy cell function, and you can maintain cells in their natural state. So really, it's rejuvenative. It's a way to rejuvenate your body and get it back into that natural state so it's able to heal itself. The oils don't heal you. Nothing can heal you except your own body, but oils are like a supplement. They're like a tool. They're like food that you can consume to help strengthen and fortify your body.
Yep.
So this is a picture of peppermint. And you can see the peppermint leaves on the outside, and then the magnified part in the middle, that purple area with the little eggs, it sort of looks like a foreign planet. Those little eggs are the oil sacs. And so if you were to crush a peppermint leaf between your fingers, those oil sacs would burst open, and then you smell the aroma. So that's why you muddle things before you put them in a cocktail, or you chop herbs before you cook them, because it releases the aroma and there's more flavor. Now, essential oils are very powerful, but the grade of oil that you use will determine its chemistry, its potency, and its efficacy. Most people are used to essential oils because they smell good, and that's one of the best ways to use oils is aromatically. But just because something smells good does not mean that it's good for you. So you have to be really careful about where you're getting your oils. They sell oils everywhere now. You can get oils in Best Buy, which is kind of horrifying because they sell electronics. Like, how do they have any business selling essential oils? So you can get like a $5 bottle of frankincense in Best Buy, but do not do that. You're better off not using anything than buying a $5 bottle of frankincense at Best Buy. But if you want to use the oils for real therapy, then you want to make sure that you're getting high quality, certified, pure, therapeutic grade oils.
And actually, I have a question. So like, what would happen if they weren't?
Yeah. So we're going to talk about many ways to use the oils, including internal use. And so if you use oils that have not been tested and certified as safe to ingest, and you ingest them, you could do major damage to your liver. You can create toxicity in your system, because a lot of oils are not, they're not tested. There's no regulation in the industry, so people can put pretty much whatever they want on the label. They could say 100% pure, 100% natural, and there might be nothing natural in that bottle. The natural is a very loose term. So you want to use a brand that you trust and that you can see the tests that they've done. So for instance, doTERRA, if you go to their website called Source2U, SOURCETOYU.com, you can type in the number on the bottom of the bottle and you'll see all the tests that have been done. No other company is offering that kind of transparency. And that is why this is the most trusted brand on the market. It's the brand that Johns Hopkins University uses. It's the brand that's used in Cedars-Sinai in the birthing and labor division. Hospitals all over the country and now across the globe are using these oils because of the rigor of the science and the testing behind them and how pure they are. So you could use them on a newborn baby coming right out of the womb in the hospital, and they do that all the time.
And I do too.
So oils are dynamic, they're adaptogenic, they're going to support you in the way that you need. One thing to keep in mind is that everybody's body chemistry is different. So oftentimes when you get started with oils, you'll learn that there are certain oils that are generally good for a certain health issue like sleep. You know, lavender is well regarded for sleep, but it doesn't necessarily work for everyone. So for me, lavender actually keeps me up at night. And so our job and my job is to help you navigate through your own personal, unique body chemistry and body type and needs, stage of life, all of that, to help you figure out how to use oils and what cocktails might be best for you. So depending on your level of interest and how you're looking to use them, we can be your guide for that. And smell is really the fastest way to affect the mood. When you inhale something, it goes through your olfactory system, and that is connected to your limbic system. And the limbic system is the part of the brain that manages mood and emotions. So within 22 seconds of smelling an aroma, you can have a chemical reaction in your brain. Now, you probably have noticed this. You smell something and you're like, oh my gosh, that reminds me of my ex-boyfriend.
Yes.
Yeah, like that smells just like him.
You walk by someone and you smell your ex-boyfriend's old cologne and you're like, yeah. And so it's really potent. And so where that empowers you is that if you want to feel good, within 22 seconds, you can shift your mood. If you're about to go out on a date and you're like, ugh, I really don't want to go tonight. I don't feel good about myself. I feel icky, or I'm not He's
sure.
He's probably going to be a loser.
Yeah. You're having like a lot of negative thoughts.
I'm probably not going to click with him anyway.
Yeah.
I should just stay home.
One of my favorite oils to use for that is Neroli. Oh my God, this is so good. I'll just put this on my neck and behind my ears, and it's become my pre-date routine. Neroli is like, it comes from the bitter orange, and it's very floral and gorgeous, and it's an aphrodisiac also. So it just kind of gets you to like fall in love with yourself a little bit more before you go on your date.
And it can get you in the mood.
Yeah, it sure can.
So I wanted to go through together a bunch of oils that we think would be awesome for dating. Some of these are oils that, actually all of these are oils that some of my clients have and use, and they're all oils that I use because this is like, I use oils every single day. So I thought we'd start with wild orange because, you know, if you're in the Worthy One community at all, that my program is called Abundant Love, and wild orange is the oil of abundance. Here's the thing, in dating, we often feel like we're in scarcity, right? Or in relationships, we're like, there's like, I'm probably not going to meet him. When is it going to happen? We're sort of like really in scarcity mode in everything that we're thinking and feeling. And so the best shift we can make is shift to an abundance mindset. And wild orange 100% supports you in doing that. Wild orange is one of those oils that you can ingest too. So you can throw wild orange in your water, you can diffuse it, you can put it on topically. I love it in water, actually.
I also, quick tip for anyone who does enjoy some bubbly, put a drop in a glass of champagne or Prosecco, and you have an instant mimosa with less sugar, and it's like a therapeutic cocktail, so you don't have to feel bad about it.
Yeah. Awesome. And next one is Cheer. You want to tell us about Cheer?
Yeah, so Cheer is the uplifting blend, and so if you need a little boost, if you're feeling, down in the doldrums and you just kind of need to get back to that, you want to like get back to the level ground or above, then Cheer is a great one to use. It's got citrus, it's got a little spice in it. You can wear it like perfume. And so this is an oil that you can use topically or aromatically, but it's not something that's recommended for ingestion. Some of the blends have oils in them that in general are not recommended as safe to ingest. So by the FDA, the plant itself is not safe to ingest, so you wouldn't want to ingest the oil. It doesn't have anything to do with the purity or the potency. It's just the plant in general. For instance, like cedarwood, you wouldn't eat the bark of a cedarwood tree. So you wouldn't
do that.
Yeah, hopefully you wouldn't. So you wouldn't eat cedarwood oil. So that's sort of the rule there.
Yeah, so Cheer is a good one to use if you're feeling like, if you're in a lonely lube. If you've ever heard me talk about lonely lubes, Cheer is a great one to use. Or if you're just, maybe you went on that date and he wasn't awesome and he was a loser. Like Cheer is a great one to come home instead of going like down the chute of, like he wasn't good and I'm never gonna meet anyone, and down and down and down we go. Cheer is a good one to just like lift you back up again. Oh, Console. So you guys, Console is one of my favorite oils. This oil, I used so much through what I said earlier, like through what Thomas and I were going through. Console is one, to me, what it feels very comforting. It feels almost like a big self hug, but like internally in a way that you can't really hug yourself. But Console is a great one to use like after you have a fight with someone, or like anytime when things are really like they're just, there's like something kind of traumatic that happened, which was all of what Thomas and I went through. It was like traumatic things back to back to back. Console is amazing because it just kind of like evens you out. For me, what it did for me is it like evened me out. It made me feel like I didn't have to keep, like the worst case scenario wasn't going to happen, because that's something I do often is I have catastrophic thoughts, right? It's like, well, because this happened, like I'm going to have to move out and get a divorce. And like, you kind of go to like the worst case scenario. Console is really great for just like kind of evening you out, giving you the comfort and the hug that you need.
And I would say too, in terms of dating life, if you were, going out on a couple of dates with someone and you thought it was going well, and then he sends you a rejection text.
Yeah.
Console, I've used Console for that.
Or
absolutely.
Or if he ghosts on you and you're just like feeling it, like suddenly it hits you. You're like, oh my God. Like I thought things were going somewhere and now they're not. Like that's it. It's over, Yeah, Console's great for that. It's also great if you had a breakup with a friend, or if there's like something going on in a friendship of yours too, that, I think that those things also like impact us a lot.
And two, if anybody's going through postpartum, I know there's at least one person on the webinar who has recently given birth. So if there's any postpartum stuff going on, you can use Console as well to deal with the grief and the separation.
Okay, Forgive. Forgive is a great one. You want to talk about it?
Yes. So Forgive, these can be used in all dating scenarios also. Anytime that you might be holding a grudge, or you feel like you are upset with someone, or you feel wronged, or you're just kind of holding on to something that you want to let go of, forgive is really good to release. It's really good to release, to forgive yourself, to forgive others. I love diffusing it. I love the way it smells. I actually keep it by my bedside, and I use it before I go to sleep so I can kind of slough off any of the negative stuff from the day, and it kind of renews my joy so that I go to sleep thinking and feeling good thoughts.
Yeah, I think forgive is an awesome one for forgiving yourself, like you said. I think that's the biggest thing, is that like these negative thoughts and emotions that we have, like I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not going to meet someone anyway. There's a world in which you can forgive yourself for feeling those things and thinking those things. And I have a practice of writing myself forgiveness letters. And I just literally will write, like, I forgive myself for this. I forgive myself for saying I'm fat. I forgive myself for XYZ. And forgive is a great one to use, like, in that process, but also just kind of ongoing, like you're saying, because it's something that we can always be doing, is like forgiving ourselves for our subconscious thoughts that really we're not in control of quite yet, maybe.
Yeah, and I know that Lori talks a lot about boundaries in the Worthy Ones. So if you ever get into a situation where you feel like you didn't honor your own boundary, maybe you said, okay, I am going to go on this date and I'm not going to go home with this person. And then suddenly you find yourself at this guy's house, and the next day you feel really badly about breaking your own boundary, and you get to forgive yourself for that, because we're human.
Yeah. And maybe you get to forgive him too. Yeah. Like if there was a boundary that he crossed. Right? Motivate. Oh, this one. I love motivate. This is so great if you want to be in action around something. So say in your dating life, you have felt sort of stuck. You haven't really been taking much action, and you're like, that's it. I need to write my profile, or I need to take any sort of action like that. Like I need to ask 3 friends to set me up with someone, whatever it is. Motivate is a really good one to use in moments like that, when it feels like I need to go, I need to do something, I need to get unstuck.
Yeah, and it's great to do before a date if you're tired or you don't really want to go.
yes, 100%.
Use a little motivate, and then put on a song, just like a really uplifting, upbeat song to get you in a higher vibration. So when you go on your date, you just feel more open to the experience. Yeah, you're right.
Especially like if you had a really long day at work or something, and you're just feeling like, oh, I don't want to go, like we talked about. Passion.
This is my favorite. I love this oil so much. I mean, obviously it's amazing for dating. It's called Passion. Insta aphrodisiac. But I love Passion too for just creative fire, because our creativity is linked to our sacral chakra. If anybody is into spirituality or chakras are just energy centers. And our sacral chakra is in our groin area. And when you think about creation, I mean, birth is like the ultimate creation. You made a person. And it's also connected to our sexual organs. So if you want to create more passion in your life with a partner, create more passion in your creativity. What are you bringing to the world? What are you bringing into your life that lights you up, that makes you feel good, that, makes you wake up in the morning? And passion is the inspiring blend. So it helps to bring inspiration into your life, so that passion can just be natural. You don't have to feel like you're trying to summon it up. It's just it's a part of who you are.
And I hear that so often from my clients, that that's how they feel in their dating life. Like I'm kind of trying to force it. I feel like I should be dating right now, even though I don't really feel like I want to be, but I don't know that I want to go through this is something I hear all the time. I don't want to go through the process of dating. I just want to be in the relationship, right? Like you need some passion, guys, if that's how you're feeling. Peace. So peace is a really great blend for sleep. It's also really great anytime really that you need peace. So it could be, it could be like we talked about cheer after a date. You could also use peace after a date if you're feeling like things kind of stirred you up and now you need to go to sleep. Peace is a great one for kind of like moving, shifting.
If you ever have a date where instead of feeling like you don't want to go, you actually really do want to go, and maybe you're a little stressed out about it, you're feeling a little
nervous,
maybe
anxious.
Yeah, like maybe some neurosis is coming up, or maybe you're just like really, really nervous about meeting a guy that you're interested in, then peace is a great way to chill yourself out.
We also talk about, at the Worthy One, we talk about dating multiple guys, and peace is a really great one if you find yourself kind of like getting like overthinking things with a certain person, or when is he going to text you next, or like what's going to, like, kind of in that like waiting energy, which none of us want to be in, or overthinking each of the men. Like peace is a really great one for that too.
Also, personally, I have trouble sleeping next to a partner, and this has been issues in past relationships. And so peace is a way to just put me at ease so I can feel comfortable sharing a bed with someone. I don't know if anyone else on this webinar has that issue, but my ex-boyfriend and I, a lot of times I'd have to sleep on the couch because I just feel so anxious. And at the time I didn't have oils at my disposal. So now it's a whole different ballgame to be able to, like, you know, go to sleep and wake up with a partner that you care about.
Yeah. Awesome. Peppermint. Okay, so we talked about wild orange earlier. Peppermint is we're actually diffusing right now here, peppermint and wild orange together. So peppermint is really uplifting. Peppermint is great. Some of you who are in abundant love have it, because peppermint is great if you are going kind of like deep into some feelings and you just need a break from them for a while. Peppermint is great to kind of like resurface you. Like if you're doing, you know, you're kind of exploring something, like you're exploring your fears, and you just kind of need a little bit of a break. Peppermint's awesome. But because peppermint's so uplifting, it can also give you tons of energy. So like I have friends who have completely gotten rid of coffee in their life, and just in the morning do peppermint and wild orange together, which they unofficially call happy crack. That's what Amanda calls it, at least, and now what I call it, happy crack. But these two together are like magic.
Yeah, peppermint is the oil of a buoyant heart. So it's good to open up your heart chakra. It's also really good for the respiratory system. So like we were talking about before, the physical and emotional stuff is connected, because if you're opening up your lungs, you're bringing more oxygen into your body through the menthol that's in the peppermint, then you're also opening up your heart chakra, so you can be more receptive to connection and vulnerability. So that's one of the main reasons I love peppermint. Practically, you can use it for head tension, again, because the mint in it is going to open up your blood vessels and allow the blood to travel more seamlessly. You can use it to cool your body down. So say you're on a date and you're just like sweating profusely, you can put a little bit on the back of your neck and it'll help to cool your body down. You can use it for nausea. You can use it for so many things. Digestion, fresh breath. If you're about to go and kiss somebody, take a little lick of peppermint and your breath will be like magic.
And you'll have tons of energy and feel amazing.
Yeah.
Frankincense.
Yeah, this is liquid gold. It even looks like gold. The resin from the frankincense tree kind of looks like gold. This oil is good for almost anything you can imagine because it's so chemically complex. It works on so many different systems in the body. This is also the oil that's connected to father energy. So if anybody has any sort of residual, conflict or things that they're resolving with their relationship with their father, using frankincense can be really healing. And so in dating, if you're looking to date a man, and a lot of times we call in men that remind us of our fathers in an attempt to kind of resolve unresolved issues. And so frankincense is a great thing to use throughout that process. And it's also the oil of truth. So if you're having trouble deciphering, like, okay, is this the right person for me? Should I keep dating them? How do I feel about them? Frankincense can be a way to help you get really clear about the truth of your emotions and where you're at in your dating life.
Love it. There are a few I want to talk about that aren't on here, actually. I want to talk about geranium. This is my favorite, probably my favorite of all the oils. Geranium is the oil of love and trust. And so geranium is, I know that there are a lot of women like me who have issues with trust, like who want to trust more than they do, but feel like in the past you've been really hurt by someone. And so this is a really great oil to use, especially before a date or throughout the day, to feel like you can trust yourself and you can trust others in your life, because you know it goes both ways. You have to trust yourself in order to trust others. And you have to trust others in order to receive support in your life. And so, yeah, geranium's a really awesome oil for that.
Geranium, and for physical benefit, it's really nourishing for the skin. It's also really amazing for your hair to calm down frizz. So before you go on a date, I just put a couple drops of geranium in my palms and like smooth it because I tend to have little baby hair frizz. It's also good for bruising. So if you got a bruise, you like bumped your arm and you're like, oh my gosh, I have a date in 2 days and I have this like giant bruise. They're going to think I'm getting abused by somebody. You can put a little frankincense and geranium on your skin and it helps the bruise to heal faster, because I'm very fair skinned and I bruise easily. So I use the geranium frankincense combo. One thing to mention about frankincense too, it's anti-aging. So I use it in all my skincare products.
Me too.
Love it for that.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about hope?
Yes.
Of course, we have to talk about hope, you guys.
This oil is so beautiful in so many ways. The aroma is beautiful. It's got really beautiful notes like vanilla, ylang ylang, bergamot, frankincense is in here too. And this particular blend was formulated to support children who are victims of sex trafficking. And so they distribute this blend to rescue victims as a way for them to be able to create more hope in their lives. And all the proceeds from this oil, it's only $20. All the $20 goes to an organization called Operation Underground Railroad, and their mission is to rescue children from sex trafficking. And they've saved 1,400 children over the last 4 years. And so this hope, if you were to purchase this bottle, you get to bring hope to somebody else, and then you get to also use it for yourself. And I mean, how many of us ever feel discouraged in dating, thinking like, okay, it's never going to happen for me. Like everybody else is getting married, everybody else is having kids, and I'm still waiting. And so this is a way to be able to create more hope and bring that possibility to you.
Yeah, and it's a great one to use when you feel any of those things. It's also a great one to use like right before you go to a friend's wedding or baby shower or things like that where you feel like you may get triggered also. How do we use them?
Yeah, so there are 3 main ways, and we talked about most of them. Topical is one of the primary ways. You can apply it really anywhere on your body. You want to be cautious with spicy ones, citrus ones, and mint ones. You don't want to get them in very sensitive areas unless they're diluted. And my favorite carrier oil is fractionated coconut oil because it's liquid at all temperatures. It's odorless, colorless, and it absorbs into the skin really easily. doTERRA sells it. It's only $12, and it'll last you months. So you can apply behind your ears like perfume, your wrists. I don't even wear perfume because I smell like oils all the time. So I just use oils as my natural perfume. And then the bottoms of the feet is a really good way to do it because, especially if you don't want to smell too much like an oil, when you put it on the bottoms of your feet, it's much more discreet and it still absorbs into the bloodstream within 2 minutes, and it's in every cell of your body within 20 minutes. So really you can apply oils everywhere. You just want to avoid your eyeballs.
Especially if it's something physically for your gut, to do it over your stomach area is also really good. And so, yeah, so oils, come, if you have any oils, that they come in bottles like this, and 1 drop. We talked about how powerful 1 drop is. So you really this bottle is basically a million drops in comparison to however much you're going to use. And then these bottles that we've been showing you, these are already mixed with fractionated coconut oil. So I have a bunch of these that I can pop in my purse and I can use throughout the day. But you can also make your own bottles of this too. So I also have bought bottles of this and just like put a couple drops of the oil, the actual oil in, and filled it up with fractionated coconut oil.
Yeah, that's some of my favorite ways to use the oils, is like making my own blends. You can use the oils internally. Now, I want to give you a major caution. Not all oils are created equal. If you walk away with like one safety tip, this is it. Not all oils are created equal. If you have other oils at home and they do not have essential oil supplement facts on them, you can see here they have the nutritional facts. If your oils do not have nutritional facts on them, they are not safe to ingest, and do not drink them. You could create a lot of toxicity in your body if you drink oils that are not safe to ingest. So always look at your bottle to make sure there are supplement facts. You can take oils in water, lemon, lime, grapefruit, Slim and Sassy. A lot of those oils are amazing to drink in water in small amounts. You don't need very much. You can put them in veggie capsules if you're using them to boost your immune system. You can put peppermint on your tongue if you're trying to freshen your breath. All of that is safe. To prevent overdosing yourself, which, I mean, it's really hard to do. You'd have to take 24 drops in a 24-hour period, and no one ever comes close to that. I usually take maybe like 1 or 2, maybe 3 drops in a day. Because of the level of testing and the purity, they are safe to ingest. So if you have any questions about internal use, especially if you're pregnant or looking to get pregnant, there's a book called Essential Oils and Pregnancy, Birth, and Babies, and it gives you all the protocols for your first trimester, second trimester, third trimester, for fertility, for postpartum, to use on your baby. So any questions that you have about safety, please ask at the end during the Q&A.
Yeah, and we mentioned that really because like it's just a very different safety usage if you're in that stage or want to be in that stage. So let's talk about getting oils, right? Some of you may have some oils in your cabinet right now. Some of you may not. So I thought we would talk a little bit about some of the doTERRA kits, since we've been talking about doTERRA today. So this emotional aromatherapy kit is the kit that I love the most for people who are just starting out with oils, who want to integrate them in their dating life, because they're most of the ones we just talked about. It's cheer, it's motivate, it's peace, it's passion, it's forgive, it's console. And also because they're called those things, it's also really easy for you to just be like, which one do I need? Oh, cheer. Because they're kind of labeled emotions, right? So this is great. It comes with bottles that are this size, and they're 5 milliliter. It also comes with a diffuser, so that you can diffuse it in your home. It's a 10-hour diffuser, and so that means that it can run all night while you're sleeping. You can put your piece on or whatever, and it also comes with a booklet. I think all of the kits come with some sort of like education also for you, right?
Yeah.
So this one is really awesome for emotional management. I highly, highly recommend it. It's what a lot of my clients have and like start out with. And sometimes it's, just that alone is like the perfect thing for them. Or sometimes then they get really addicted to oils and they buy 1 million of them like I do.
And the good news, you can see the price there, but it is actually 20% off through September. So from now until September 30th, you can get a 20% discount off of this kit. So it's a great month.
All of the kits or just this?
Not all the kits,
okay.
But this kit and a couple of other ones are 20% off. So if you're thinking about getting oils, this is a good month because they only do this 20% off once a year.
Cool.
So you'd have to wait until like next September.
Awesome. Home Essentials. I want to talk about this one too.
Yeah.
Because this is the kit that I actually started with in doTERRA. This kit is great. I mean, of course, all these oils, we talked about some of them. We talked about peppermint. We mentioned lemon a little bit. We mentioned lavender a little bit. But a lot of these oils are, so some of them, all oils can be emotionally supportive. But these are the ones that are great for physical benefits, right? There's frankincense is in this one too. So for example, there's Deep Blue, which I've been loving lately because my knees are feeling weird, like achy, and I think I pulled a muscle in my shoulder. And Deep Blue is really great for like getting into your muscle. It's almost like a natural.
It's kind of like Tiger Balm on crack.
Yeah,
but like natural crack.
Yeah. There's also Digest Zen, which is great for your gut, right? Great for just like digestion overall. I know Amanda uses it every day.
Yeah, if you like have a very active, talkative stomach and you're about to go on a date and you're like, oh my gosh, she's gonna hear my stomach. This is so embarrassing. Use a little Digest Zen before you go on the date.
Or if you're gonna eat somewhere and you're like, I don't know how I'm gonna react to this food. Also, and it's just a great one. I find to keep I keep a little bit in my purse all the time. So it's just like if I go out somewhere and something sits weird with me, I don't have to worry about it. Melaleuca's tea tree oil, which is great for zits. Great also for just like being in kind of cities or other environments that might be kind of like icky.
Lavender is the oil of communication.
Yes.
So if you need to have a difficult conversation, put a little lavender on your throat chakra and it'll help with saying what it is you really need to say.
That I do that all the time. And I diffuse lavender in our home a lot too, which is great. Like, so not only in romantic relationships, but if you live with roommates or if you go home to your parents and you want to have like discussions with them that maybe aren't the easiest, using lavender on your throat or diffusing lavender, awesome. So this kit is like a best hits kind of kit for like general use, so emotional and physical.
Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah, okay. Totally. And this kit is also 20% off for the month of September.
Great. Family Essentials.
Family Essentials, the exact same oils in the Home Essentials kit that we just looked at. They're just smaller bottles. So in the Family Essentials, it's more like a sampler kit. You get 5 milliliter, and the Home Essentials is 15. So you're really getting 3 times the oil in the Home Essentials kit. So the Home Essentials kit should really be $450, but it's only $275. So you're getting a lot of value with that kit, and you're getting a diffuser. But if you want to just play around with oils before you dive in, this is a great starter kit.
Perfect.
Aroma Touch Diffused is another great kit if you want a lower cost kit, but you want a diffuser. It comes with the fractionated coconut oil, and then you get 8 oils in it. You get wild orange, peppermint, you get an oil called Balance that's really good for grounding and to manage stress. You get the Deep Blue, you get lavender, you get tea tree, the Melaleuca On Guard, which is the protective blend. So that can protect you from negative energy, and it can also help to keep your immune system strong. So if you tend to get sick or under the weather, it's a good oil to use to boost yourself. And then Aroma Touch is the massage blend. So you can use that as you wish.
So like we mentioned in September, some of these have discounts, right? The emotional aromatherapy, the Home Essentials, and then there's, doTERRA has lots of other kits. So, you can do any of them really, but I just thought I'd pick a few that I feel like might be a good place to start for you if you're here and you're thinking about using it in your dating life.
And I should mention too that you may be curious how doTERRA works. When you are purchasing doTERRA oils, you get 2 ways to get them. You can get them at retail, which most people don't do because you spend more money that way, or you can get them at wholesale. And all of the kits, you're getting the oils at wholesale prices, and it gets you an automatic free membership for a year. And what's cool about doTERRA is they don't automatically renew your membership. So basically you get a kit, you just get a free membership for a year, and if you don't want to keep it, nothing happens. Yeah. And what's cool about the membership is, say you get the emotional aromatherapy kit, but then next month you're like, ooh, I want to try some peppermint and wild orange. You can just buy it through your doTERRA account and it'll get sent to you. You get the wholesale pricing, and you can just be a wholesale customer. So it's kind of like Costco or Sam's Club, where you get the wholesale prices and you get to buy the oils at the same price that I do, but there's no requirement to sell anything. You can just be a wholesale customer. Like my mom, she just like buys them through the account so she can get the cheapest prices.
Yeah, awesome. And if you wanted to get oils through me, I want to give you some bonuses because you guys know that I love to just like give more bonuses. So I have put together 3 special things that that you'll receive if you do order a kit. And you would want to schedule a call with me where we would set you up with a kit. If you're still not sure which one would be right for you, we can talk about that too. The link is at the bottom. It's love.theworthyone.com/oil consult. And here's what I additionally would gift to you is you'd get a 60-minute coaching session with me. And during that session, we talk about what's going on in your dating life. We'll create some shifts there, and then also talk about how to incorporate your oils based on what is actually currently happening, or places where you tend to get stuck, or, you know, areas that could like use a little love, no pun intended. You're also going to get, I put together a dating and essential oils guide that is all of the oils that we just talked about and how to use them. So like when to use them, in what circumstances to use them. Basically everything we just covered, but like in a quick guide that you can reference easily. And then you're also going to get a meditation that's mantras for love, because when you use an oil in addition to affirmations, it is the most powerful thing. We talked about it is a thought and a feeling, right? That those are the 2 things that go together. And so the conscious thought that you create through a mantra plus using an oil, creating that feeling of having it like vibrating. The best thing about using it in that format is that then sometimes you don't even need to say the mantras, and you smell it and you think those things, right? So you think, oh, I'm worthy, right? And so it becomes like a fast track to moving into the space that you want to move into. So I share that special meditation with you guys too. So yeah, if you are interested in getting a kit, you can book like a 20-minute call with me and we'll set you up. And we're here to answer any questions you have, whether they're about oils, whether it's about the science and like how emotions work, whatever it is. I'm curious if anyone has any questions. So if you do, you can raise your hand. I think there's an option to raise your hand. Or maybe, I actually don't see that. So you can unmute yourself. How about that? If you have a question, you can unmute yourself, or you can type into the chat and I'll unmute you. Any questions? Who wants to go first? Break the ice.
One thing I'll say that's cool is when you start using oils, if you start dating a guy, he's going to get really curious about them. I have to say, like, almost everyone I've dated has been like, ooh, can I have some of that peppermint? Because then he's got good breath too. And I actually used that with a guy who did not have such good breath, and I'd always like give him peppermint. So it helps on your dates with your date. So if your date seems nervous, you can be like, hey, you want some wild orange oil? And you can just use it together. And, you know, sometimes guys can be sensitive to smell, but a lot of the oils that we talked about are more on the mild side. So
yeah, like passion. I mean, it smells freaking delicious. Oh, it smells delicious. They all smell really good.
Yeah.
Thomas is like super into oils now too. He's like, I need digestion. Or I'll be like, you seem like you're getting sick. Like, here, take some On Guard. Any questions, you guys? It's okay if you don't have any. But
can I ask something? It's Beatrice.
Hey, Beatrice.
Hi. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for this. This is really interesting. And I'm curious to know, you know, I don't really use a lot of oils. And, well, I've used peppermint, but I've put some drops on a Kleenex. And because I get congested. But anyway, my question is, what is, like, how does a diffuser work? Like how, you know, and do you have to be in a certain size room? Like how much should you put in there? Do you have advice?
Yes.
Yeah, so a diffuser, it's pretty intuitive. When you get the diffuser, and you open it up, there'll be a little line, like a red line inside, and you fill it up with water, and then you add in a couple of drops of whatever oil you want to smell. So the emotional aromatherapy oils are great because you can just put like 1 or 2 drops of each. They're super potent, so you don't need very much at all. Just put a couple of drops. You can combine oils. That's some of the like my favorite things to do is combine different combinations and like see what smells good. You really can't go wrong. But you don't have to use very much at all. You put the oils in that you want. You put the container back in, or the top back on the container. You plug it in, and there's a couple of buttons where you can make it run for, you know, a couple of hours. You can have it run for 10 hours. And there's a night light too, so you can have different colors on the diffuser as well. And it covers, I think it covers at least 400 to 500 square feet. So the diffuser that comes in the emotional aromatherapy kit, I have 2. I have one in my bedroom, and then I keep one in my living room, and it's compact so I can travel with it. And I love bringing it to hotel rooms because a lot of times they smell musty. And it's also good for if you're worried about bed bugs in a hotel. It cleanses and keeps the bed bugs away too. So so that's really how you use a diffuser. And what I like, especially if you're dealing with allergy stuff or congestion, it just helps to purify the air consistently and also keep your lungs and your respiratory system open. So oils like Breathe, Peppermint, any of the mints would be really good for you, Beatrice. And also On Guard would be helpful just to keep your like passages more open.
Yeah. Oh, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. Who else has a question? Anyone else? Last call. Sorry for the baby crying. Ellie and I flew today from Boston to LA, and she just, I guess, woke up from a nap in a panic. But don't worry, there's a sitter with her. She's being cared for. All right, you guys. Well, this was great. I'm so glad to share my passion with you and to talk about how you can just like feel better about dating, feel more joyful, happy, excited, passionate. And I hope that this was inspiring to you. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.